Brigadier, if we can then come back to what you mentioned earlier on, that upon your assessment of the docket, there were certain facts that informed you that there were intruders.
Absolutely, my lord. There were those factors, but as I was looking into those factors, I must also mention that I was looking at them in relation to Longo Twala, because in the midst of those allegations, Longo's name was coming up as a possible suspect who may have shot a deceased. So one of the things that I looked at, my lord, obviously when I looked at the docket, was to establish that according to the preliminary statement which the defense has, there was a report that one of the cell phones belonging to Ms. Kelly Kumalo was robbed. That was one of the allegations that was said. I was able to establish the specific number that was taken, my lord, because she had 2 cell phones that were disclosed according to the docket. Yes, so there was a 082 number, I think it's 703, I forgot the last 4 numbers, that was not taken. Then the 072 is the one that was alleged to have been taken by the perpetrators. Now, my lord, I looked at the cell phone records that were already available, that were requested by the first investigation team, because after they took over the matter, they applied for Section 205, and those records of all the numbers of the people who were in the house were available on the docket. What I could establish, my lord, is that before the incident took place, you can place all the cell phones, including this particular one that was alleged to be taken, on that one tower. In other words, the people who were in the house, inclusive of the alleged stolen phone, was under one tower, so they were at the crime scene. Now, after the shooting, the shooting incidents, the people who were in the house, my lord, moved to the hospital, and they were picked up by the tower at the hospital. And that is in line with their statements that I was reading in the docket, my lord. However, the alleged robbed phone takes a different direction, and when they were sitting at the hospital, the tower was the robbed cell phone was picking up a different tower at Muleleki section.
Can you repeat it again?
So I'm saying, my all right. So after the shooting, my lord, or the incident that taking place, the people who were in the house moved to the hospital. That is corroborated by their statements, and their cell phone location places them in the tower that covers the clinic. However, my lord, the robbed phone went to a different direction, and I could not get an explanation as to who was in possession of this cell phone except the intruder, because one could confirm everyone who was in the house at the hospital. In other words, my lord, if there were no intruders, one would not have expected the phone to go to a different direction. It would have remained at the scene or go with the people who were in the house to the same direction. So that was the first piece of evidence, my lord, that I looked at that, told me there was a problem.
If you say that indicated to you there was a problem, what do you mean?
Well, when I say there was a problem, I'm referring to the suggestion that there were no intruders, because it was clear someone was in possession of that phone to a different direction.
Now, cell phone evidence has been placed before this court by Ms. Pinky Fillingham, and I just want to refer you to Exhibit J1.
Yes, my lord.
It's her affidavit, and I just wish to draw your attention to page 1188 of her affidavit.
Yes.
Those are extracts of Section 205 pertaining to a specific number. Can you just place that number on record?
So the number, my lord, it's 072. It's writing small, my lord. Can I use my phone, my lord, just quickly to
Yes.
Is it not legible there?
No, it's not, my lord. But I know it's 072. I can see. Then it's 93. I can see the last numbers is 249. If I can, maybe please. No, it's not legible, my lord. But I can see that the last number is the last 3 numbers is 249. 249. And it starts with 072. I think it's 93. I don't see what comes after 3, my lord, but then it's 249.
Mr. Badwe, you don't have a copy of that document?
We'll refer you to another exhibit of Lieutenant Colonel Spain. This exhibit O. It's exhibit O, page 33. Where reference is made to a number. Can you just place that number on record?
Okay.
On page 33 at the bottom.
33 at the bottom. Yeah, but at the bottom, 072, my lord. 938-2495. It's 98, my lord. Sorry, it's 8. 072-938-2498, my lord. That's the number.
Yes. And the name of the person against whom that number appears?
Kelly Kumalo.
You earlier mentioned that you were able to establish two of the numbers, and that the one number started with 082, the other one with 072. Are you able to recognize that number?
So the bottom one, my lord, this 072 is the second number that I was able to establish. The 082, I don't see it on page 33, my lord.
Yes.
On page 33 of Colonel Stein's statement.
Yes. Just at the top, just there where your hand is. Just at the bottom of the page.
At the bottom of the page. Yes, my lord.
Are you able to read the number now?
Correct, my lord. It's 27. I'll read it as it's contained here. It's 27-72-938-2498.
Are you able to recognize that number?
Yes, my lord. That is the number that belongs to Miss Kelly Kumalo, the one that was reported as being taken by the perpetrators during this incident.
You mentioned earlier on in your evidence that this very same number picked up Muleleki Tower. Are you able to find that information on Exhibit J1?
That is correct, my lord. It did pick it up indeed. The time is 21:52, and the date is 26 October 2014, and the tower is 3G Muleleki. And my lord, at this time, this is where the people who were in the house, including Mr. Longo Twala, were at the clinics. They were picked up by that tower, so he was there. And in addition to that, I know we're still going there. The vehicle tracking system places him there as well at the clinic.
Thank you, Brigadier. You said the cell phone information on the robbed phone was one of the factors that informed you that there were intruders. Were there any other factors that informed your view that there were intruders?
That's correct, my lord. So the second thing that I looked at was the DNA, because it was alleged, my lord, or rather it was contained in the statements that the perpetrators left a head, which through the DNA analysis, a mixed DNA was established, was found in that head. Now, my lord, I checked that DNA that was found in comparison with the DNA of everyone who was inside the house. And what I found was that the DNA of everyone who was inside the house was excluded from the DNA found on the head, meaning the donor or the contributor of the DNA on the head was not any of the people who was inside the house. Now that, my lord, was also an indication that someone, because if the DNA is found at the scene and you can exclude everyone who was in the house, there was a donor and we did not know who it was. So that was a second point, which I regard as objective, because it's not a man-made story, it's objective, it's science, my lord.
Now, if you say look at the DNA profile, how was this information presented? Where was it contained?
It was contained in the report of a captain. I just forgot his name, but he's an analyst, he's an expert who did the examination, my lord. So it's contained in his report.
I just want to show you a document which serves as Exhibit X in brackets 11.
Correct,
Are
my
you
lord.
able to recognize this document?
Yes, this is part of the report I'm referring to, my lord. That deals with a DNA comparison of the people who were inside the house by this expert I was referring to. And if I can place it on record, my lord, so he documented the name number 1, which is Mtokozi Sitwala, and it says the results are that excluded on all samples. Kelly Kumalo excluded on all samples. Madala Tumelo excluded on all samples. Longo Twala excluded on all samples. And then Zandile Kumalo included on the smear of Ken, but not on the smear of Ken. Gladness Kumalo included on the EF swab and from toilet door handle. Yes, that is the essence of it, my lord. So in essence, in the mixed DNA of the head, none of them were right, my lord.
Any other factor?
Yes, so that was the second factor. Then the third factor, my lord, I've touched base on it, but I'll go deeper into it, was now the vehicle tracking system of Longwe, because I was able to establish, it's contained in one of the affidavit, that he was driving a red Polo, and then I looked at his vehicle movement to see if he went elsewhere. And what I found, my lord, now from the scene, my lord, after it arrived at the scene, it also moved to the clinics, to the hospital. In other words, when his tower, when his cell phone tower and others were picked up at the clinic, that vehicle was there. It was not, for example, at the place where this robbed cell phone was, the Moleleki tower. Can I carry on?
Yes, I just want to show you the automated vehicle location or the tracker report on a vehicle which currently serves before this court as exhibit triple P. And I want you in particular to refer to page 47 at 210409.
So at 210409, my lord, the vehicle is picked up at Sam Sikati Avenue, Vosloorus, Gauteng South, South Africa. And it indicates, my lord, that the ignition was switched off.
And just place again on record, the tracker report is in respect of which vehicle?
It's in respect of a Polo Vivo, Volkswagen. That is the vehicle that I know was driven by Mr. Longo Twala, my lord.
You earlier in your evidence referred to the fact that the cell phone records of Mr. Longo Twala also places him at the hospital at a particular time?
That is correct, my lord, and they are in line with where the vehicle was.
I just want to refer you again to the section 205 extract of a cell phone which has been handed in as exhibit triple J1, page 2186.
Correct, my lord, yes, I have it.
At 2105, can you just place the particulars of that cell phone number on record?
Yes, my lord, it's 27 60 080 4043. And then the tower that is being picked up, my lord, is Clinic Vosloorus.
And do you remember who was the user of this phone?
It was Longo Twala, my lord.
Yes. Any other factor?
Yes, my lord. So that was that, my lord. Then the other factor that I looked at, my lord, was the eyewitnesses, not the people who were in the house, because there were questions that we were trying to address. And that now led me, my lord, to the statements that were disposed of the neighbors, the people who were walking on the street. For example, my lord, I can, without obviously specifically mentioning what is contained in the statement, for example, the Ngashes, who were the next door neighbors, my lord. Ngashes.
One of members of the family of Ngashe, Kai Ngashe, has testified as a witness in this matter.
Yes.
Does that name ring a bell?
Yes, it does. It does. He was one of the family members in that the neighbors to the crime scene.
Yes.
And my lord, in their statement, it was clear that they saw people running out, my lord. So there was a clear, if you read the statement, in essence, that people were seen running out during that commotion of the shooting from the crime scene.
except for the Ngashe family, any other statements of neighbors that you can remember?
Yes, absolutely, my lord. There was one also that I remember, I think two that I came across of, the first name that I remember is Ntabise. She's associated with the Department of Correctional Services. They were just sitting opposite the crime scene when this incident happened. And I do recall that in part of that statement, it is clearly mentioned that perpetrators were seen running out of from the direction of the Kelly Kumalo's house to the direction of the park. It was two witnesses, my lord. There were two. I do remember that it's two females, and both of them witnessed people running out of that house to the direction of the park.
Ms. Ntabise Mokete testified before this court. Does that name ring a bell?
Yes, it does ring a bell, my lord. I can further also, my lord, say while I was looking at that, I just don't recall whether it's Ntabise or the other lady, the description of the dreadlocks was mentioned by these witnesses, which was in line with the statements that were made by the people who were inside the house, who said one of the perpetrators had dreadlocks. My lord, I also remember that there was also another statement that I looked at. I think it's one of the neighbors as well, Makaleni or Mekeleni, who also assisted even in the drawing of the identity of the second suspect that had a hoodie.
Had a hoodie.
A hoodie. Now, my lord, what I established there is that there was no relationship between the end of the people who were in the house with these neighbors, except that they were neighbors, but there was no reasons I could find that these neighbors will actually lie or be influenced to say they saw people running out of the house or running from that direction to the direction of the park for no reason. In other words, I found credence and reliability in that they were telling the truth in terms of what they saw.
Just going to show you an identity which serves as Exhibit BB before this court on the screen.
Yes. So the identity, my lord, that I'm referring to is the one on the left that was drawn by this neighbor or member of the public, my lord, in terms of describing one of the perpetrators that he saw. That is the suspect with a hoodie on the left on the screen. Yes, that's the.
Thank you. Is any other factors?
Yes, my lord. So I then also looked at the first responding officers who attended to this scene, and when I looked at their statements, I also noted that the report they received is that there was a shooting and the perpetrators ran on the direction of the park. Although there was a misunderstanding going to the clinic and back and so forth, my lord, but what was apparently clear that the first reporting that was given to them was the indication that there was a shooting and the perpetrators ran to the direction of the park.
Do you remember who these officers are?
My lord, I remember the names Mtetwa and I think Matebula. I remember those two.
They've also testified before this court.
That is correct, my lord.
Yes, you may continue.
Now, my lord, taking all these facts, that I've mentioned, I could not, I think it would have been a miscarriage of justice to still believe with these facts that no one came into the house. There is no way. So I was convinced that people came into the house, and now the biggest task that was lying ahead was to find these perpetrators, my lord.
We'll return to this aspect in a while. If we can just briefly go back to the stage after Brigadier Perumal came on board to oversee the investigation. Were there any meetings convened with interested parties in the matter?
Yes, indeed. Indeed, my lord. Sorry, my lord, if I can just go back, I forgot something that I want to conclude on this part of things that I took into account when I was establishing. I also looked at the statements, obvious of the people who were in the house, my lord, to see as to whether the description that is given is in line with what the members of the public, if I can put it in that context, if it's in line, if what they describe inside, insofar as the perpetrators are concerned, is it in line with what you are seeing outside, and I found that it was in line. There may have been small differences, but in essence, two intruders were described, one with dreadlocks, one with a hoodie, tall, slender, so there were similarities, my lord. That's the aspect that I also considered.
If you can, perhaps, once again, if you can refer to Exhibit BB,
yes,
the identikit.
Yes. So, and when I say the description, my lord, I'm referring now this identikit, my lord, because people who were in the house, some of them contributed insofar as the drawing of the identikit of the man with the dreadlocks and added part of the things on the identikit of the man with the hoodie, my lord. So there was that contribution when Warrant Officer Steenkamp drew the identikit.
Yes, we've already referred to the one with the hoodie.
Yes.
The other identikit.
Yes, this came about as the result of the description given inside the house, my lord. And what is common is the dreadlocks, which was mentioned, as I said, by Tapsing, for example, that I recall in seeing that in a statement.